Bond. James Bond.
In case I don't see ya. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Did we just become best friends?
Yup! Sublime!
What keep using that word? I don't think it means what you think it means.
Tear me apart, Lisa!
But mostly I hate the way I don't hate you. Not even close. Not even a little bit. Not even at all.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Hi friends, and welcome to another episode of You Haven't Seen That, a movie discussion podcast where we introduce our friend Ben to movies he should have seen a long time ago. I'm your host, Amanda.
I'm Geoff.
And I'm Ben.
And today we are discussing The Usual Suspects. And stick around until the end because we will be giving off our top 4 movies from 1995.
As Amanda said, the year, 1995. The month, August. The number one song in the country, Waterfalls by TLC.
Good
and
song.
Very good song. And Microsoft is about to release Windows 95 very, very soon, just in a couple of weeks.
Dang.
We have, I know, right? Crazy. We have The Usual Suspects. Held in an LA interrogation room, Verbal Kint attempts to convince the feds that a mythic crime lord, Kaiser Sose, not only exists, but was also responsible for drawing him and his 4 partners into a multi-million-dollar heist that ended with an explosion in San Pedro Harbor, leaving few survivors. Verbal lures his interrogators with an incredible story of the crime lord's almost supernatural prowess. Directed by Bryan Singer, boo, and written by Christopher McQuarrie, who many people probably know nowadays as the new kind of stalwart director of the Mission Impossible franchises. Mission Impossible franchise. There's not more than one. And Tom Cruise's BFF. This movie stars Kevin Spacey, boo, Stephen Baldwin, Gabriel Byrne, Benicio del Toro, Kevin Pollak, Pete Postlethwaite, and a young Giancarlo Esposito. And a young Benicio del Toro, I guess, for that matter. This movie initially debuted at the Sundance Film Festival, and with a $6 million budget, this went on to gross $67 million at the box office. So while not taking the world by storm, it was a pretty big hit for its budget. It did not debut number 1, naturally. The number 1 movie in the country when this came out was Mortal Kombat. This movie had an 87% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 77% on Metacritic, so very well received by critics. And this was nominated for 2 Academy Awards, winning both of them. Best Supporting Actor for Kevin Spacey and Best Original Screenplay.
Okay, that's fun.
The screenplay category, it did beat Toy Story, and it beat the Best Picture winner that year, Braveheart.
I don't know how I feel about that. just gonna throw that out there. Okay.
Well,
Has Amanda tipped her hand?
First now, I think, Amanda.
I think so.
What? I mean, come on, Toy Story. Come on.
I didn't see who Kevin Spacey beat for supporting actor. I'll look that up while we talk about our histories with the movie.
All right. Well, Ben, you can go first then. What's your history?
Wow. You never go first on these or the ratings.
Well, because I'm the one, I'm not going to be like, Amanda, go first.
All right. I don't really have much of a history with this movie. I was obviously a kid when this came out, did not have any interest in a movie like this, nor did I have really had any awareness of a movie like this. I actually, the most familiar I was with this movie was just a few months ago when What We Do in the Shadows parodied the ending of it as one of their 3 endings.
Yes.
So
right.
that was really the most I ever the most connected I ever was to this movie. It actually was kind of what made me pick it for our podcast.
Did they?
They did.
Yes.
What
they did? They did Newhart, they did Rosemary's Baby, and they did The Usual Suspects.
Like what part of the ending
With
did
the
they
3
do?
different endings when they had.
I don't know. I know. I remember that. I'm just saying I don't remember this.
The ending of this
ending.
movie.
We'll rewatch it after this podcast, babe. No
Okay.
worries.
It was very clearly. It was like a shot-for-shot remake.
Okay,
of
well,
ending
here's
of
the
this movie.
thing. I probably don't remember because I had no idea what movie they were parodying when I watched it. I was just like, okay. Oh. Wait, okay, Laszlo was like the detective, right? And then maybe, and he was like piecing all the things together. And then, okay, no, it's kind of coming back to me. Okay, yeah, I had no idea what they were parodying. Um, Fun. I'll have to go back and rewatch it now, I guess, now that I've seen the movie. Um, all right. Well, since Ben's mad that I always get to go last, I'll go next with my history. Um, I knew nothing about this movie. This was another one where I don't even know that I've ever heard of this movie. I didn't know the genre. I didn't know who was in it. I didn't know what it was about. I didn't know when it was made. I knew zero things. Geoff, your turn.
So I have not seen this movie either. This was a first watch for
Oh
everybody.
wow, I'm a little surprised by that.
I know. I feel like this is a movie that while I wouldn't have watched this when it came out because I was 3, I think this is a movie that gets thrown into the, I don't want to say dad movie category, but almost like the dad movie category, maybe not as actiony as one of those, but something that is on something like TNT a lot, and it just will flip to a part and people are like, oh yeah, I got to throw that one on and something like that. But I've never seen this movie. I knew the basic premise of it, and I knew that it had a twisty ending because when we did our episode around what movie did we do where we did the best movie twists? I can't remember
Oh
off the top of my
yeah.
head. But when we did that, I saw that that movie came up a bunch within the top movie twists, and I was like, oh, interesting. So, not to say I was kind of bracing myself for a twist, but I was like, okay, I know something's up. Something's up, and I don't know what exactly. And there we go.
And just to clarify, it was Colin Robinson being the Kevin Spacey part in
There
the
it is.
What We Do in the Shadows parody.
That tracks.
That does track.
That seems right.
But I don't think Laszlo was in that one.
No, okay. I was thinking he was the detective who was looking at the board with all the
I
stuff
can't
on it.
remember now.
Yeah, we'll have to watch it. All right, Ben, what did you think of The Usual Suspects? What's your rating?
Okay, so I was the one who picked this movie. I didn't like it that much.
You're like, I wish I hadn't.
I couldn't get into it. I was like, feel like maybe if I feel like I it's always unlike Parasite where I did not know the twist was coming. Like I think when you know there's a twist coming, especially a major twist at the end of the movie, which I knew was the truth, and I even had a slight sense of what the twist was because of What We Do in the Shadows. Um, I think it took away the enjoyment for me to some degree, but even without that, I feel like a really good movie can kind of overcome that for me. This did not I didn't enjoy the journey. So without that twist element to really kind of make it exciting, I just wasn't a very big fan. I'm gonna give it a 2.
Okay. And what about you, Geoff?
I so I liked this movie. It's one of those where it was very hard. I don't know how to properly describe it because I'm gonna give it like I think a 3.75. I think I enjoyed it. I think it was a creative setup, and I think the overall execution of the twist was effective. And I gotta say, Kevin Spacey was really good. I know we all know about Kevin Spacey, but he was pretty darn good in this. It's just one of those where it was hard for me to emotionally attach to any characters, and it was more just like, okay, I'm just a spectator. I'm not really in the story weirdly. And I think ultimately though it was a super creative execution that I didn't feel as emotionally enraptured by. So I'm gonna give it a 3.75.
So, interestingly enough, Ben, I didn't know there was a twist in this movie, obviously, because I knew nothing about it. Um, and I don't even know if I want to say that there was a twist in this movie. I didn't feel like there even was a twist.
That's like
Um,
its whole thing, Amanda.
I mean,
That's like what if you were to ask an average person for the 90s, what is The Usual Suspects? What do you know about it? People will be like, there's a twist.
but like, I didn't feel like there was a like. I don't know. We can talk about it more. To me, I felt like it was very obvious that like one of them was going to be Kaiser Sose, not, and so that didn't feel like twisty to me that it ended up being one of them. I didn't necessarily know which one it was going to be, but like, you know what I mean?
Well, okay, but yeah, finish your thought, and then I have
Yeah.
thoughts on that.
Anyways, yeah, I could not get into this movie. I just did not really enjoy it at all. I'm gonna give it a 1.75.
Ouch.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is I'm on an island again in terms of relatively classic movies, but unlike The Graduate, I didn't get as into this. Also, what I'm hearing is that this movie will be eligible for a 3 or below category in their draft at the end of the season. So
there you go, Geoff. You can grab it.
It's between that and The Terminator. I don't know what to get.
Dear Evan Hansen's just sitting right there too.
Right there.
All right, Ben. So argue with me about why.
Well, okay.
About the twist.
Well, so yeah, I mean, you said it's going to be one of them. Yeah, I mean, the movie really tries to make you believe it is one of them. They try to make you believe it is. I can't remember the character's name.
Verbal Kin. Keaton.
The one played by Keaton, by Gabriel Byrne. Like, that is what they are trying to do the whole time. I mean, that's even how it basically ends right before that final moment with the fact where you figure out it's Kevin Spacey. Like, they're trying to. So I don't think like the twist is that it's one of them. The twist is that it's Kevin Spacey.
Maybe I was just totally lost then, because I did not get the impression at all that they were trying to make me believe that it was Keaton.
Did you watch the movie?
Yeah, the interrogating officer the entire time being like, "It's Keaton."
Yeah,
it's
like
Keaton.
they definitely like that's how he left the precinct, with them thinking it was Keaton.
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, I wasn't into the movie either, but I followed the basic plot. Like, that was like the whole point, was that Kevin Spacey convinced the detective that it was Keaton. And then the twist was that it was Kevin Spacey.
Right.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. What I'm saying is
there are movie files
not...
listening to this banging their head on the floor.
What I'm saying is that maybe because I was so disinterested, I was just like, there was no moment where I was like, what? Oh my God, I can't believe that just happened. Like, maybe I just didn't care enough to even be like, oh, okay, it wasn't Keaton, it was Verbal. Okay, great. Who gives a shit?
Wow. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there trying to piece together the whole thing, trying to figure out all the little details. Again, I know there's a twist, so I'm trying to figure out who Kaiser Sose is, and I was making call outs like, ooh, it was Hockney, was that the character's name? Who he was holding his gun sideways, and I was like, oh, Kaiser Sose was holding his gun sideways there at the beginning, and I was trying to piece stuff together about the movie, but clearly I was led astray, and I was like, oh, cool.
Okay, so I have a couple fun facts about this, since we're talking about it. The first is apparently they filmed like 5 different people as like the body for Kaiser Soze throughout the film. Like in one shot it is Verbal, in one shot it is Keaton, in one shot it's like some random crew member who had good arms, quote unquote. Like so it was constantly different people. It wasn't actually just one person. And also apparently no one outside of Kevin Spacey knew who Kaiser Soze was, / some people like Keaton were actually told that they were Kaiser Soze just to find out at the screening that they were not Kaiser Soze. So they did kind of one of those keep people in the dark things, which I don't know.
I like that approach. I think it adds a different flavor to the movie making process, though it can lead to some interesting consequences. Whenever I hear stuff like that, I always think of it in like something ends up negatively happening. I think a famous one, if memory serves me right, and people can correct me if I'm wrong, but Adrian Brody, I believe, was in Terrence Malick's The Thin Red Line, or was filmed scenes and everything, and he got to the screening only to find that all of his stuff had been cut from the movie. And it was just like not there.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, oh, you're gone. Bye.
Yeah.
Or it's like I don't know why this weirdly popped into my head when you were describing that, Amanda, but I keep thinking of there's this one video that was filmed for social media from like one of the late night shows or the Good Morning shows or whatever. It's probably Fallon or something, but it was a bunch of different celebrities singing in like a Brady Bunch style 3x3 square, and one of them was Usher, and Usher never got the hint that he was not in the center, and so he is singing like he is in the center of the square, and then the end product is him looking in every direction imaginable. Very, very funny. So that's what I thought of immediately when you say that. But
I feel like
it's
along those lines, I feel like I don't know that I think it's fine for like Kevin Spacey to have been the only person who knew the actual truth, but I don't feel like you should lead others to believe something that's not true for their character development. Like telling Gabriel Byrne he is like that would change your character portrayal of that.
Yeah, I have I found it again. So it says to maintain the air of mystery, Bryan Singer led all 5 main actors to believe they were playing the role of Kaiser Soze while filming The Usual Suspects. Only Kevin Spacey knew from the outset that his character was really Soze. Upon screening the film for the first time, Gabriel Byrne was so shocked to learn that his character was not Kaiser Soze that he exited the theater in a fit of rage and began arguing with Singer in the parking lot for 30 minutes.
I feel like I understand that side
I get
of it
it
because that changes your portrayal. Like if you are the criminal mastermind or not, like I feel like it's okay to not let the others know who it is, but to actually lead them to believe that they are playing a character that they are not seems to go against like what an actor would want to prepare. You know, it's okay, I feel like, for the actor to only know what the character knows, but it's not okay for the actor to believe something that's not true about the character.
I like that perspective.
Yeah,
I like that thought because I think it leads to interesting tales, especially for something like the dynamic between like McManus and Fenster, Stephen Baldwin's character, and Benicio del Toro's character, how they're, quote unquote boys and have been teammates for years working together. How in any world could you believe that Fenster then was Kaiser Soze and what have you? McManus, sure, he gives off big main character energy through a lot of this in terms of the way he leads in conversations and gets the team out to California, but Fenster, like, that's not believable in the slightest. So yeah, it's and with Keaton in like the jail, he is sitting there, he's contemplative, he's going through motives and everything, but even then with some of the choices in the story, it doesn't make sense that he would be like, I don't know if you're logically thinking like, yeah, he's Kaiser. I don't know.
Another fun fact, apparently in Hungarian, Soze or Sozel, apologies for my pronunciation, translates something loosely to like talks a lot or like very verbal. So people who watch this in Hungarian were probably not at all surprised by who ended up being Kaiser Soze.
They were probably like you. They're probably like, where's the twist?
They're like, I don't understand. It was clear as day. Clear as day.
The character had his name changed for Hungarian and Eastern European screenings.
Maybe.
He just used a different name.
I feel like, Amanda, your assessment of this movie makes me think of a quote I saw. So Roger Ebert famously hated this movie, which among I mean, as far as like, this is one that was like on top movies of the 90s lists, top movies of, whatever. It's been in a lot, I think, it's been on a lot of all-timer lists and stuff. And so people come back to Roger Ebert's dislike for this movie all the time. But in his original review, he said, to the degree that I do understand, I don't care.
That sums it up perfectly.
I was about to say, that is Amanda's perspective exactly.
Absolutely.
Were there any, I know you both gave it scores on the lower end, and you didn't vibe with the story as much as I did. Were there any highlights for you in terms of maybe performances or moments or anything from this movie? And you can be honest and say no. I'm just more curious.
The one thing that I wrote down that I liked was the lineup scene where they were like not taking it seriously at all, like saying the line that the police gave them.
Yes.
And I was actually reading about that. Apparently, it was not supposed to be a funny scene at all. Um, but Benicio del Toro apparently farted like 12 times and wouldn't admit to it.
Oh
And
my
so
gosh.
they were all in a very giggly mood. And Bryan Singer, like, basically like chewed them out like during their lunch break, but they still couldn't get over their giggles. And so they just did it this completely different way. And he ended up, uh, using it to show their camaraderie with each other and obviously using the funny take. But I did enjoy that particular scene.
I think Kevin Spacey, again, I know we don't like him anymore, but I think he's very good in this movie. I think he's definitely the performance highlight of the movie. Um, but I also think Benicio del Toro is really fun, and I think the movie loses a bit of the energy when he is not in it anymore. Um,
Do you want to know a fun fact about him? I have so many fun
yes.
facts.
My goodness, for not caring about the movie, you sure read a lot about it.
Man is like, I don't recall anything about the story, but I've got plenty
Like,
of facts about this.
We could quiz her on plot points and she'll have no idea, but quiz her on like random behind the scenes facts and she's not at all like at college.
Because I thought that this would be a fun thing to add.
I love it.
Facts.
It's perfect.
Okay, so I feel like this conflicts with the fun fact I already gave about Singer telling everyone that they were Kaiser Soze. So Benicio del Toro knew that his character was going to die, and because literally the only point of his character was to die, he decided that none of his lines really mattered all that much. And that is why he put on this incredibly thick accent that was difficult to understand. And I think it was Bryan Singer like didn't know at first if he was like doing it on purpose or not. So he was like afraid to say something. And then he finally did figure out that he was like doing it on purpose. So he told the actors that they could just like throw in like basically improv off of him. And so that's why I can't remember which one of them was like, what did you just say? Like at the one point, and he's like, because we need the audience to know that he is difficult to understand. Like it's not just them. That's like a thing. But I'm like, what a choice. You're like, none of my lines matter. I'm gonna make them like so hard to understand.
I do wish that I almost feel like this movie wants to be two different things. Like I feel like it wants to be like this like comedic whodunit kind of thriller with these kind of wacky cast of suspects, and then it wants to be like this kind of thinking twisty thriller. Yeah, and I don't feel like they always work in connection with each other. Like I feel like the comedic elements, while fun, don't match kind of the tone that the movie gets at the end. And I feel like the tone at the end doesn't match the movie we just saw to some degree.
I agree.
I see what you're saying. I think there's a way to achieve that balance, but yeah, I know I found it to achieve that balance for me, mostly because of the highs of those moments like the interrogation room. But I agree that there are other movies that do it better, that kind of walk that tightrope a little bit better than this does. But I found it to be effective in bringing those two elements together, whether it be, yeah, like you said, the interrogation scene or like crash out scenes between the characters, or in moments where like there's like more subtle humor and stuff that I just find like funny naturally, just like, oh, that was funny. Or like, their first job being like a whole F you to the cops and whatever. Like that was, I thought that was like funny and creative and everything. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
The other thing that I thought was interesting was I feel like I'm always praising 90s movies for how visually strong they look. And I didn't feel that about this one. Like I felt like it didn't look
It's small.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe it was like just that we've watched some bigger budgeted ones. uh, from this time period, but like it felt, I don't know, it felt kind of drab, and and I'm not saying that
Hmm.
wasn't necessarily the point of it, but I just feel like so many 90s movies are just visually really pretty to look at or really interesting to look at, and that was not the case here. And also, while we're talking about visual things, did every hospital in the 90s have like that mint green kind of wall thing? Like I feel like that makes me think of ER, and like I don't know, it always feels very like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I think that was just like a
probably.
hospital look at the time, but I don't like it. It makes
They're
me feel
like,
like,
they're
I
like,
don't
we
know, it
have
feels
one
kind of
hospital set.
claustrophobic-y, and I don't know, it doesn't work for me.
I have a question for you, Ben, because I know Jeff and I talked about this while we were watching the movie. So again, I didn't know anything about the movie. Maybe Jeff knew this, but like as soon as they first mentioned Kaiser Soze, like Jeff and I both looked at each other and we were like, I've heard that name before. And I don't know if you had the same experience where like you've heard of Kaiser Soze before actually watching this film.
You mean like just from pop culture you've heard it?
Yeah. Yeah. Like not necessarily the character, but just that name, Kaiser Soze.
It didn't sound familiar to me.
Okay. Like I don't know how or why, but I was like, yeah, I've heard that name before. And I can't really like I was like, maybe it just permeated into culture, but I can't even think of an instance or um how someone would even have been using Kaiser Soze as like a reference or what, I was like, I kind of think of it as like a Mr. Miyagi
Well,
kind of thing. Like it's Kaiser Soze. And I'm like, why do I know that?
there is a music artist named Kaiser Soze.
I definitely don't know them.
Nope.
At least I don't know if that's how it's spelled, but yeah, I think it is. Yeah,
Hmm,
if you type in Kaiser Soze, the music group comes up before Usual Suspects does.
interesting.
So maybe you've heard it. I mean, even if you don't know them, maybe you've heard it
Right.
in that sense.
Maybe. I don't know. It just felt very weird. And Jeff and I were both like, yeah, we've heard that name before. I don't know.
I don't know. Speaking of the Mr. Miyagi thing, and it's just from the names that I thought of. Mehdi, you noted that something was up and something was fishy when Kobayashi first comes on screen, and it's like the most British of British guys. You're like, huh, that's weird. And at that point, that is when the kind of the story you think like, huh, something's not right about this. Something is weird. Not to obviously classify, by people's names and assume by people's names, but it was when it's revealed at the end how Verbal kind of pieces everything together. It is interesting, and then it makes it everything starts to click at the end. Your comment there about Mr. Miyagi just like clicked in my brain. I was like, oh yeah, I remember we wanted to talk about that. That was very entertaining. I do want to note though with that scene, I did enjoy the interrogation scene, mostly because, well, I thought Pete possibly did a great job in terms of setting the tone for this serious nature and kind of level setting with the criminals. But also, shout out to Buffalo, New York.
Oh
Bethlehem,
yeah, yeah.
Bethlehem Steel getting jacked.
I thought that too.
I was like, oh my gosh. Granted, Bethlehem Steel closed in the 80s in Buffalo, but I was like, oh my gosh, that's uncanny. What a catch. And that's the lexicon of Buffalo movies or movies mentioning Buffalo, but there's not a
Uh,
lot.
I already kind of know how Amanda feels about this, but Jeff, I'm curious. Like, how do you feel about the twist? Like, do you feel like it is like when you think about like big time movie twists, like some of the ones we've done on this podcast or other famous ones? I mean, The Sixth Sense obviously has another one where I think the twist has kind of transcended the movie itself.
Hmm.
Like, do you feel like it's well executed? Because, well, I want you to answer, then I'm going to give some thoughts.
So I think that, so I think the idea of this twist at the end when we find out that Verbal is Kaiser Sose, again, spoilers, sorry everybody who's not seen a movie that's 30 years old at this point. Um,
Sorry,
I
Amanda, because I think she just learned it.
Oh no.
Oh no. I think the idea is a good one. I think the idea is a good one, and I think the reveal is shocking. And looking back, it's one of those things where when you look back on the movie, it's like, oh, okay, there's some moments that could lead to this. But I think the one thing that I'd say that makes it different than, say, The Sixth Sense or something like that is that you don't it's hard to piece it together even like watching it back, where it's like if you want to catch like little details throughout the movie, like oh this or oh that, it is so hard to like zoom in on the detective's corkboard where Verbal is essentially picking up all of the names and everything. I i don't know if it would be possible to try to even see it coming, which I know I get it, like, oh yeah, it's a twist. Like you're not supposed to see it coming. I get that, but I feel like if you're rewatching something, you should be able to like still pick up on stuff and like, oh, this little hint here could lead to this. I don't know if you could necessarily do that with this movie on second or third watches. So I would say there are other twists that are maybe more effective in that way, but yeah, I don't know.
I feel like the way it's carried out to me feels a little gimmicky.
Hmm.
Like it feels a little bit like, just the fact that he's reading from the bulletin board or the coffee cup or whatever, like I don't know. It feels a little bit cheap in some ways. Like I feel like it's like I know the whole point is like he just threw this story together and he's an unreliable narrator kind of thing. But I think maybe it goes to what you were saying, which is that like if you're in a twisty thriller, like you want the pieces to me to have a little more meat on them than that, than
Hmm.
just the randomness of a piece of paper in the detective's office.
Right.
Yeah. To me it felt like I don't know, and maybe this is what you guys are getting at, but like if there's a twist like that, like I want to be able to maybe have been able to like piece together that that's like what it was, right? But like it feels like in the whole bulletin board scene, like, duh, you idiots, you didn't see this whole time. It was on the bulletin board. And it's like, okay, but like we aren't shown that. You know what I mean? Like, how would we have ever known that, oh, Skokie, Illinois is like on the bulletin board and it's on the coffee cup. And so I don't know, it kind of felt like a duh, you idiots. And it's like, you didn't even show us that. Go away.
Yeah, nothing would have led to that foundational buildup or anything, or
Mm-mm.
even a moment where like Verbal, even when he's in the detective room by himself, he's looking at the board or anything like that. Now, granted, maybe the movie wants to assume that we're smarter than we are, but even then, and I get like you don't want to talk down to your audience, but yeah, even then, I kind of wish there was that little bit. But again, I still think that the idea of it was a good one, and I think that it leads to it like a great like oh my goodness moment at the end where it's like oh yeah whoa that's cool, but yeah, I wish there was something more rewarding in terms of the build up.
Yeah. And I'm not going to watch this again, but I would be curious if I did, like, can you see the wheels turning in Kevin
Hmm.
Spacey's character as it, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
can you see him look off to things, like,
According to the article that I read that crashed my computer, um, there are some things that you can notice upon rewatch that point to him being Kaiser Soze. What they are, I don't remember, and I'm not going to pull that article back up. But apparently they are there, some small
Mm.
things.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
you can Google it yourself if you dare. I also want to give a big shout out to what's the name? Stephen Baldwin.
Yes.
Mhm.
Stephen Baldwin. Yeah. This entire movie, I was like, I know that man's face. And I couldn't figure out from where. And then afterwards, I looked it up, and he is in an awesome movie called Biodome, and he is Doyle, played alongside Pauly Shore. And I literally cannot believe that that was him. and that he's in this movie and in that movie. They're very different. But anyways, big shout out to Stephen Baldwin, friend of the pod.
Speaking of friends of the pod, there was one other actor that appeared in this movie that I was like, I know them from somewhere. So when Redfoot showed up on screen, Peter Green, I was like, wait a second, I know where this guy's from. And initially, I thought he was Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs. It's not the case. He is Zed from Pulp Fiction, another movie that we visited on the pod. And I was like, oh, yes, that is him. Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead.
Well, and speaking of actors, how young does Giancarlo Esposito look in this?
Oh my goodness, it's
Holy
unbelievable.
cow.
Unbelievable.
I mean, I feel like I just know him as like how he's, he's
Yeah.
just been like in everything for the last 15 years. And
For real. Especially the last like 5 or so in the post-COVID. I feel like I've seen him a lot more.
I feel like he's a
yeah.
perennial, like being in multiple Emmy categories and things like that, and or at least contending for them. But I mean, going back to Breaking Bad, though, I feel like he's been just kind of the same type of
Yeah.
look and the same, and so to see a much younger version was interesting.
For sure. And I think it's funny too because I know with Giancarlo, he gets, like you said, he gets typecast and kind of fitting his role with Breaking Bad. But I do want him to go back and have a fun role. It'd be fun to see him in like a funny role again, kind of like he had early on in his career. There's a movie I'll recommend. It's called Night on Earth, which is an indie about 5 cab drivers around the world and one night for each of them. And it's like a segmented story with like 20 minutes for each person. The first segment was with Winona Ryder in LA, and she's amazing. That's one of my favorite segments, frankly, of any film in kind of that period of time. But the second segment takes place in New York City, and Giancarlo Esposito is the cab driver. Rosie Perez is his boo, if you will, and they get into trouble, and they pick up a guy who's not from the United States, and they take him on this crazy ride and everything like that. So, and he has a lot of fun with that role, and it's very, very fun. So I would love to see him do more movies like that, or even a movie kind of like this, where he's having a little bit of fun with this role.
Well, does anyone have any final thoughts, or we can jump into recommendations since Geoff kind of went there?
Sorry we didn't maybe like it as much as the average person did.
Yeah.
To each their own.
Teach their own. Exactly.
It's so interesting how these older classics either like, I feel like they go one way or the other. Like either we're like, we don't get the hype, or like, like The Godfather, where we totally got the hype.
You get it.
Yep. We need to find some more where we totally get the hype.
Yeah, there haven't been too many of those.
Oh, I got one that's on our list for movie recs. I can guarantee it.
All right. Well, go on then.
So I'll save that one for number 3. But number 1, I'm going to go with LA Confidential, another crime movie.
I love that movie.
There you go. Featuring and starring Kevin Spacey. There you go. Obviously don't watch it for Kevin Spacey specifically, but I know he's good. Watch it for the overall story, and I know it's a good and well-celebrated movie. Number 2 is I won't even say a more recent one, but definitely a more recent one than LA Confidential, yes. The Departed. We'll go with The Departed. A movie where not everybody knows who everybody is. Identities are hidden from the cops. But won Best Picture. This was Scorsese's big movie.
Also on our list.
On our long list. Great movie. But the movie I'm going to recommend, though, is number 3 that I know will all get the hype, guaranteed, 100%. Or if we don't, I'll be very, very sad. Is 7 from David Fincher. And the reason why is a reason I'm not going to reveal on this podcast, because I know neither of you have seen it. That's it. Those of you who know,
I don't think I can watch that movie.
You can watch it.
Can I?
Yes, you can watch it.
Are you sure?
Just no, there's a couple gross things, but
or no, wait. I think I get that movie mixed up with the other movie that has 7 in the title. That's really gross.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Yes. I can't watch it. No, what is it called? 7 Samurai, maybe? No.
From the 1950s. No, that movie's great.
No. Okay, well then I'm thinking of Seven. I don't want to watch it. Don't make me watch it. Anyways.
But it's Jeff's choice. He does what he does.
Ben, what are your what are your TV recommendations?
I have two. One of them is a comedy, one is a drama. The comedy I put is specifically for one episode, which is Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yes.
There is
Yes.
there are well, there's two things. One, there's some very famous lineup scenes from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but there's also a really great two-hander episode called, I believe it's called The Box. And it features a interrogation between Andre Braugher, the late great Andre Braugher, and Andy Samberg, and then the criminal is Sterling K. Brown.
Amazing episode.
And it's a really excellent episode. The drama I recommend is Mindhunter, starring Broadway's Jonathan Groff.
Yes. David Fincher.
And David Fincher, yes. And you know, just very focused on the psyche of criminals. So those are my two TV recommendations.
So I'm gonna respond to that real quick, but one with Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I initially thought you were gonna reference the "I Want It That Way" lineup interrogation scene, but I appreciate the direction in which you took that.
Yeah.
And then number two, I have not seen Mindhunter. It's like the one thing I know I need to watch because I know I'm gonna like it.
It's very
good. Yeah, it's good to know. All right.
Yeah.
There were a lot of reviews on Letterboxd that reference the Brooklyn Nine-Nine lineup scene.
Yes, I'm sure. I thought about including that in my thoughts, but yeah.
Alrighty.
A very famous opening.
Oh yes, absolutely. So let's move into our top four. Since this movie came out in 1995, we figured we would pay homage to our favorites from the year. So, Geoff, why don't you start us off?
Awesome. 1995, great movie year. I've realized and kind of looking at it. Very good top of the list here. So my
not as good as 1999, but
not as good as 99.
It's still a good year.
It's still the 90s, so it's still a good year for movies.
Exactly. So I have 5 honorable mentions I want to profile here. I have Michael Mann's Heat, Martin Scorsese's Casino, Gus Van Sant's To Die For with Nicole Kidman, Catherine Bigelow's little seen but widely appreciated Strange Days with Ralph Fiennes and Angela Bassett, and then the closest one to the list that really came close to making it is Before Sunrise, Richard Linklater's Before Sunrise. So my number 4 is the French movie La Haine, which is a black and white crime thriller, not even really like a crime thriller, but a day in the life of 3 French guys living in a poorer neighborhood who have to deal with run-ins with the police, trying to make a buck, earn a living, just live day to day. And it's a weirdly compelling, like the premise itself is a movie that I wouldn't necessarily think is like, oh, this is something I'm going to love or get really excited by. But the way it's shot, it's filmed in a very exciting way for just being a 24 hours in the life of. And there's a lot of political tension with the class struggles between the government state, the police state, and them. It's a very, very compelling movie that I know is very well celebrated today and is definitely one I would recommend. Number 3, I just talked about it. 7. Amazing. I just rewatched it in theaters this past winter in IMAX when the 4K Blu-ray came out and they did a re-release. Stunning. I didn't realize I needed to see a movie like that in IMAX, but let me tell you, it was amazing. Number 2 and number 1, this is maybe the closest, actually the whole top 3, this is maybe the closest like top 3 I've ever had on one of these lists that we've done for the podcast. So my number 3 was 7, like I said. Number 2, Toy Story, one of the greatest greatest Pixar movies ever made, greatest animated movies ever made. Nothing much can be said about Toy Story that probably hasn't already been said. And then number 1 is one of my favorite movies of all time, a Goofy movie, which I totally forgotten had come out in 1995. And then I put together a list and was like, wait a second, I know this movie. So yes, that is my top four. Very, very good top four that holds up against a lot of other movie years.
Just celebrated its 30th anniversary in April.
Happy birthday, Goofy movie.
Cool. Thank you. Good list, Geoff. Um, Ben, why don't you give us your list?
So, I mean, as is always the case when we do these years look at movies, there's just so many gaps for me. I think I'd love Seven. I think I'd love To Die For. I think I'd love Casino. I think I'd love Heat. So those are all ones that I think if maybe I'd like the Goofy movie.
A Goofy movie, not
Sorry,
the
a Goofy movie.
movie. It's on
So
the
those are
list.
all ones that, if I had a little bit more robust knowledge and background, which is the point of this podcast, maybe my list would be different. But as is, I'm still happy with my list. I just anytime I make these, want it to be clear that there's a lot of gaps for me. So these would not be, like the definitive top four if I were to have seen all the acclaimed movies from 1995. So my honorable mentions, I have While You Were Sleeping, which I watched with my cousin and brother a long time ago. I just remember liking it. And The American President, which was kind of a precursor to The West Wing, with Aaron Sorkin wrote it, and it definitely has a West Wing vibe to it. My number four is the Brady Bunch movie. So I obviously, if you've listened to this podcast, you know that I'm a big classic TV fan. And The Brady Bunch is not one of my all-time favorite classic TV shows, but I enjoy it and liked it as a kid. I think this movie is really funny, and I actually saw it not that long ago on Pluto, or at least part of it I watched, and it's really, really funny. Like it's does such a good job of parodying both the time period and the way the show was. In some ways it feels a little ahead of its time, because it was very meta about the Bradys and stuff like that at a time that I don't think that was being done as much. It's really funny and it holds up well, and the performances are funny, and if you're a fan of the show, you catch a lot more than maybe other people watching it. But bringing the Bradys into the 90s, very funny concept, and it's executed well. Number three is Apollo 13, which is a classic. I've not seen it in a long time, but for somebody who is not that into space related things, I found it very gripping and very intense, and I enjoyed it. Number two is Mr. Holland's Opus, one of my all-time favorite movies, but not enough to take number one here. And if you don't know about that, it's about a music teacher played by Richard Dreyfuss who is getting his position cut and his program cut, and it kind of takes place over the course of a school year. Really, really excellent movie. One I would like to revisit at some point. And then number one is Toy Story. And I think, Geoff already alluded to why that should be on the list. Just really an all-time classic, iconic. And it's one of those ones that I think, because there have been so many sequels and video games and, all sorts of things, like you kind of forget just how good the original movie is and how well structured it is. And, sometimes when you go back to basics with that first thing that led to the phenomenon, you're like, wow, they really deserved like the acclaim it got, even if it's kind of gotten, spun out of control since then.
Absolutely. Toy Story's the best. I did want to note, before we move on, one of the actors that Kevin Spacey beat for Best Supporting Actor was Ed Harris in Apollo 13. Wanted to note that.
All right. Good list, Ben. So for my list, I have two different categories of honorable mentions. My first category is movies that I definitely saw when I was a kid and I definitely liked, but I couldn't tell you anything about them at this point because it's been so long since I've seen them. So really quick, those honorable mentions are The Indian in the Cupboard, the Power Rangers movie, Powder, and The Pebble and the Penguin. Definitely watched all those. Don't remember anything, but I'll revisit them at some point. My second set of honorable mentions are movies that I was actually like, I might want to put these in my top four. I don't know. They both like just barely missed it. But the first honorable mention is Man of the House with Tim Allen and Jonathan Taylor Thomas, right? I think that was who the kid was.
It's not Tim Allen, though, is it?
I don't know. Is that not his real name?
Well, Tim Allen is with Jonathan Taylor Thomas in Home Improvement. I don't think he's in Man of the House.
No?
Is he not?
I don't know. Who is the one in Man of the House then?
Chevy Chase.
There we go.
Chevy Chase and Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Okay, wait. What's the other one then that Tim Allen is in?
From 1995?
Okay, hold on. Little side tangent. So there's another movie that came out in the 90s that I always used to get mixed up with Man of the House. Jungle to Jungle.
Yeah, Jungle to Jungle.
That one has Tim Allen, and that one also has Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Does not have Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Okay.
They were together in Home Improvement.
No, I know they were in Home Improvement. I'm just saying, I used to always get those two movies mixed up. I don't know why. Anyways, Man of the House. My second honorable mention is Jumanji, which is on our list to watch at some point. I watched that movie a lot and really liked it, but I was definitely a little scared of it as a kid. So,
completely understandable.
It's scary. I think I'm still going to be scared by it when we rewatch it. And that's the original Jumanji, everyone, obviously, from 1995, not the new one. My number 4 is Casper, the little friendly ghost. I love that movie. Also kind of scared me a little bit, but not quite as much as Jumanji. Also, the ghosts in Casper are definitely giving vibes from Haunted Mansion. Just saying. My number 3 is Billy Madison. Probably my most watched Adam Sandler movie, probably, if I had to take a guess. And I think it's also on our list to watch at some point. But yeah, I think that movie is hilarious and I really love it. It's definitely like peak annoying Adam Sandler, but I don't care. I think it's very funny.
I've seen Billy Madison, so if it's on our list, it probably shouldn't be.
Oh, okay. Maybe we had it on our list at some point and then got rid of it. I don't know.
No.
I assume you didn't like it.
No.
Yeah. My number 2, like both of y'all, Toy Story. Don't really need to say anything more about that other than it's a masterpiece. And then obviously one of my number 1 movies of all time in my top 4, a Goofy movie, 1995, the cinematic masterpiece, Blessed Our Lives. I can't wait for you to watch it, Ben.
I hope I like it for your sake and our friendship.
I hope you like it.
I'm not asking you to love it. But I need you to at least like it a little bit. So if you hate it, you need to lie. Just kidding. It just turned 30. I already said that. Maybe we'll do it next year when it turns 31.
In honor of the 31st anniversary.
I was about to say, Ben, you're the father of a son. You'll appreciate it.
He would like it.
It's a father and son movie.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I could watch it with him.
There you go.
He would love it. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of this episode, wrapping up The Usual Suspects in 1995. So,
and if you want to watch it, you can watch it on Tubi,
or Amazon Prime.
Oh, okay. Is it on Amazon?
It
is. That what the streaming service is called?
Prime Video.
Prime Video.
Get it right. Jeff Bezos is going to send. Jeff Bezos is going to send one of those trucks to our house.
I was just looking for an excuse to do the Tubi song.
Yes. Well done, Ben. Well done.
So if you want to watch along with us, we're going to be moving into the 2000s. We will be revisiting Freaky Friday in celebration of, well, maybe celebration, we'll see, of the sequel coming out of how many years later, Freakier Friday. So yeah, I think that'll be a fun watch. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving us a rating or review and follow us on all our social channels. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see y'all next week.
To infinity and beyond!
Why so serious? I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.